All right, here we are, guys. Hole number 9. Gotta try to finish up this guide here. Now, there's a couple things you can do here. You can play this a bit more aggressive, and essentially, I've put this on the green in expert, so it's something that can be done. It's not the easiest of shots, and typically, especially you can see the wind's down a little bit. You'll typically want kind of around that 11, 12 range. Typically what will happen is 13, 14 will start to land just a little bit long down here and may start to cause some problems. Not to mention, there's another kind of anomaly where you kind of aim, the ball is kind of closely aimed to the edge of the cliff. So with that being said, you can have quite a substantial different results. Now, what you'll typically want is, here you can see fusion ball. I'm thinking of getting that wind up, and I even think that you end up needing left spin if I remember this. How much left spin may be dependent upon your wind a little bit. But what you'll typically want is it landing, that wind might not be quite enough tail. So let's just try this. I think it's somewhere in here. You can see essentially through that tree, landing very close to that bunker. Oh, and I'm actually past the green. So that just goes to show you as to what we're looking at. As I mentioned, you probably want it to right around the 11 range, and you typically want to end up curling it back to the left. So you can see I was kind of coming in this plane right here. It's very tough to do. If you want to see, just kind of definitely how safely to do it, what you can do, and as I mentioned, you're probably going to want it right around that 11 mark. So if it gets up 13, 14, you start to bring that sand into play. So you want to avoid the sand. So as the wind goes up, you may want to switch to Berserker. But do check out my other guide. I laid up and got Albatross. So it might be something worth trying to perfect, because this is kind of a home run shot and doesn't always work out how you plan. There's kind of slight variations as to how you can go about doing it too. Another thing that you can do is you can go perfect ball and kind of change your spin, and you can a lot of times pull this off that way as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come a little bit off the top spin. I'm going to try to land very similarly, maybe go just a little bit. As I was mentioning, since I just showed you that shot, let me try this one. So this is more of a perfect ball type. So you'll see with where I'm aiming. And, this is the case kind of where I was mentioning as to where it'll just need to kind of land perfect. So sure enough, that's not too bad. But you can see that, and you can see we wound up way over here. I probably still needed left spin with that. So you'll see that we can get up there pin high. And as I mentioned, right around that 11 wind mark is going to be ideal. So if you ever get around a 9, you probably want to switch to the fusion. And that's kind of where I was. You can see I was pin high. What you ideally want to do is kind of clip it off this rough, but it's close to the out of bounds. You end up, potentially costing yourself. But you can see I'm up here pin high, and I'm thinking, what's that, 3 per ring, 6-ish per ring, 7 per ring, somewhere in there. 7 something per ring. Try to land towards this front. It's very tough to play this one consistent. Ah, so missed our perfect ball. It's going to end up costing me. But with perfect ball, good chance for the Alba. Sometimes even more makeable than the pitch will be, because if you keep that on the fairway, it can cause problems. Now, what you'll probably want to do is try to keep that left spin on. You can see that I used right spin. It was the wrong spin. You'll want to, worry about how much topspin to use, but what I recommend is, you may not need to do that slice hook shot. You can probably just do it with a perfect ball and just try to tweak your spin. If you get that wind that's a little bit more pointed to the right, maybe use more left spin like full, but you may be able to come off the full left spin if you get a little bit more of that tailwind. But you also want to land pretty close to that sand too. So you don't want to land too much out to the left, because then you start to bring the out of bounds into play. So when you land close to that bunker, that's when you can kind of avoid that out of bounds and kind of roll it through that rough and hopefully be able to trickle it right up onto the edge of that green there. I've had putts on that hole. Definitely something that you can pull off. It's just going to take some playing around and some tweaking. It's only Monday, so you will have plenty of time to try to perfect that. So good luck there, guys, and I will see you guys for future guides. Do check out the master guides as well. It's just something to, be working towards and something you ultimately want to do. So good luck, and I'll see you guys on the next.